Welcome into Duval Daily, presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thank you so much for tuning in here on Friday, October 6th. Right now, we're going to be getting into Jaguars at Bills, keys to victory and matchups to watch for your Jaguars in Week 5. The Jags are 2-2, coming off of a convincing win over the Atlanta Falcons, while the Bills are 3-1, maybe the hottest offense, maybe the hottest team in the league over the last couple weeks. Definitely the hottest team in the AFC right now. We're going to get into these keys to victory and matchups to watch, but if you enjoy the content, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Really appreciate y'all being here. All right, so jumping into keys to victory, and these keys will kind of lead us to some matchups to watch as well. The Bills, their offense has been humming the last few weeks. Their defense has been playing good football overall throughout the entire 2023 campaign so far. Again, they're 3-1, maybe the most complete team in the AFC right now. I think through 4 weeks, it's fair to say that. So getting into it, I think looking at the Jaguars defense versus the Bills offense, their offense is absolutely humming right now. I mean, Josh Allen, incredibly difficult to deal with. You've got an offensive line that's playing the best football that they've played during this Josh Allen run as the Bills quarterback. Stephon Diggs, still one of the best receivers in the game. You've got some other ancillary pieces that Josh Allen is having a good time finding them. You know, you talk about Dalton Kincaid, the rookie tight end. Dawson Knox is still a talented tight end as well. Gabe Davis has been finding the end zone. They brought over Trent Sherfield from Miami. So this is a team that has a lot of weapons. They have a good offensive line, good in pass protection overall, and Josh Allen, who, when he's on, is one of the absolute most difficult quarterbacks to deal with in the NFL, maybe ever. I mean, when he's on, he's about as unstoppable as it gets, right? So for me, I think it starts with your defense for the Jaguars, stopping the run. Like, if the Bills get their run game going, it's curtains, I think. You do not stand the chance if you're the Jaguars and the Bills get their run game going, because then that makes Josh Allen more comfortable. That makes his job easier, right? So you got to stop the run. And the Jaguars, they are very good at stopping the run, obviously. They're one of the best run defenses in the league over the last couple years under Mike Caldwell. I think step number one, key to victory number one, stop the run on defense. And I know that's a very basic one, but if this run game gets going, I think that the Bills offense is just going to be too talented, too good, too well organized for you to keep up with. So stop the run. Now, once you stop the run, capitalize on a Josh Allen mistake early in this game. Josh Allen is a quarterback that puts out a lot of turnover-worthy plays. He makes incredible plays, some of the best plays you'll ever see on a football field by a quarterback. And he also makes some really dumb ones, quite frankly. And so I think you need to, if he gives you an opportunity early on with a silly play, you need to capitalize on it. You need, if you get your hands on the football, if you have the ability to get your hands on the football, take advantage of it. Do not let the ball slip through your hands, quite literally. When he's played talented defenses so far this year, he's had turnover-worthy plays. Bottom line. He played the Jets, a lot of turnover-worthy plays. 4 turnover-worthy plays in that one. Played the Commanders, which they're a talented defense. I don't know how good of a defense they are, but he had 2 turnover-worthy plays in that game as well. So take advantage. The Jaguars, you have a good defense. You have a talented defense, a defense that makes sense, right? Go take advantage of any Josh Allen mistakes that are out there. You're going to have to get them off the field and give your offense some favorable field position, give your offense some positions that allow them to score the points, put points on the board, right? So you're slowing down the run. Got Josh Allen turning over the ball a couple times. You also need Josh Allen, the good Josh Allen, to continue to scare Bills Josh Allen, right? Bills Josh Allen talked about it this week. He said that Josh Allen for the Jaguars scares him. And after the last matchup they had, Josh Allen Bowl 1.0 in 2021, I completely understand. Allen was all over Allen. Allen was intercepting the ball. He was forcing fumbles. He was unbelievable. He was a monster. You need Josh Allen to continue to do that. He is the only player right now for the Jaguars pass rush that is really providing any sort of consistency. And when he gets going, the Jaguars pass rush follows suit. The defense follows suit. Seemingly the entire team. Like, when Josh Allen has been a monster this year for the Jaguars, the Jags have won. And they've won by double digits. If they can get that type of performance out of him, it's going to be huge for them. We'll talk about it a little bit more later on with the matchups, but I think you're going to need that. I think that is a huge key to victory, because if Josh Allen doesn't get going for the Jaguars, how do you create pass rush? How do you make Josh Allen for the Bills uncomfortable in the backfield? I don't know. I honestly don't. Obviously, you'll dial up some blitzes, But I think that you need somebody winning one-on-ones, and I think it's got to be Josh Allen. Now you need to score some points, obviously, on offense. Even if you have some good breaks against the Bills offense, you're still going to need to put up some points in this one to win the game. I think you got to get Travis Etienne going. This is a defense that can get gashed in the running game. On paper, you say they should be good, right? Like they've got a very stout defensive front. They've got really good linebackers, Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard. They've got good safeties, but their defense that while they do make splash plays against the run, they also get gashed. I mean, they're allowing over 6 yards per carry on the ground right now. They are very inconsistent. So I think you get Travis Etienne going, you keep Bills Josh Allen off the field. I think that could be huge for you. Absolutely. And I think offensively, you've also got to get either Calvin Ridley or Zay Jones or both going. We don't know if Zay Jones will definitely play. He's been practicing limited this week. Looks like he has a good chance to play. But Calvin Ridley will be out there. There will be no Tre'Davious White for the Bills, right? So Calvin Ridley, I think somehow needs to be able to get down the field. And it doesn't have to necessarily be Calvin Ridley, but I think that that's the most obvious choice. But you need to get plays on offense, passing the ball, where the ball is traveling more than 5, 6, 7 yards down the field. You need to be able to push the ball a little bit. Not all the time, not every play, but in this game, you need to be able to loosen up the Bills defense a little bit. You need to be able to get some chunk plays of 15, 20 yards through the air. I really do think you're going to need to be able to do that. Will you be able to? I'm not sure. But I do like the fact that if you're trying to push the ball down the field, they don't have Tre'Davious White. You do have Calvin Ridley. I think you've got to dial some things up, get creative, right? Maybe some tendency breakers, and try to get Calvin Ridley going down the field. Like, this is the type of game you brought Calvin Ridley to Jacksonville to win. A big game against a really talented football team. Calvin Ridley needs to be able to step up. We know that the Jaguars can get Christian Kirk going and Evan Ingram going. They know how to do that. They've got experience. They've got time on task in this system with Trevor Lawrence throwing them the football. I think this is the type of game where Calvin Ridley could really have a coming out party, especially after a game where he was only targeted 3 times last week. He had the pass interference he drew late in the game. He had the little out, maybe 6, 7 yards, and he had the touchdown early on busted coverage. Those were the only 3 targets. I think maybe the Bills see that. They start focusing on Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram a little bit more, and then boom, Calvin Ridley, big day. I think you're going to need it out of him. I really do. For me, it's going to be tough, right? It's going to be a tough game to win. But I do think if you follow these keys to victory, if you stop the run, if you capitalize on any Josh Allen mistakes, if you get your Josh Allen going, you're going to have a chance on defense. I think offensively, again, if you get ETN going and then you're able to, get these little dink and dunk plays to Ingram, to Kirk, and then get Calvin Ridley going, I think you'll have a chance. And for me, Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, I think they will get the job done in this game. It's about Calvin Ridley and potentially Zay Jones getting the job done against Dane Jackson and Christian Benford. The Bills, they like to run a lot of zone coverages, so it's not necessarily a true one-on-one matchup consistently, but you're going to have your opportunities where Calvin Ridley is going to be in single coverage against Dane Jackson or Christian Benford. Zay Jones is going to be in single coverage against one of those guys, and you're going to have to take opportunities when those do come up. And I think that if you're able to do that, you'll have a chance on offense. But that also means that your offensive line has to come to play. You're hoping Cam Robinson is back in the starting lineup, probably at left tackle, Walker Little at left guard. Does that upgrade your left tackle spot? Not necessarily, because Walker Little's been playing pretty good. But does Little moving over to left guard potentially massively upgrade your pass protection at left guard? I think it does. Ben Barch had not been playing well coming off the knee. Tyler Shatley played last week, did okay. But Walker Little in pass protection versus Tyler Shatley, you'll take Walker Little absolutely with his physical ability, his athleticism. So I think that could be a good thing. But that offensive line, it has to come to play. Like, Luke Fortner can't be getting blown off the ball in pass protection. He can't be getting beat immediately by Daquan Jones, a guy we're going to talk about, by some of these other talented interior defenders. Ed Oliver, Brandon Sheriff needs to play well. Anton Harrison needs to play well. If you can get that, and Sheriff and Anton Harrison both played extremely well in pass protection last week. If you can get that, you'll have a chance to hit some of these shots down the field. But you're going to have the offensive line giving giving Trevor Lawrence enough time to where he doesn't feel like he has to get the ball out quickly, where he doesn't feel like he has to not skip reads, but get through reads incredibly quickly, faster than he really needs to, right? You got to give Trevor Lawrence some confidence in the backfield that he is not going to be swallowed up by this Bills defense immediately. The Bills defense that does lead the NFL in sacks, right? They're not the highest pressure rate defense in the league, but they do lead the league in sacks. Will that regress to the mean? Maybe at some point. You don't know if Von Miller's going to play in this game. He is traveling to London. If he's out there, whole nother ball game for this pass rush. I mean, he's still one of the most effective designated pass rushers in the league, right? So we'll see how that goes. I did mention Daquan Jones. He's been the Bills' best pass rusher so far. And guess what? He's an interior player. The Jaguars have struggled with interior rushers this year. They've played a lot of good ones, right? DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart in week 1. In week 2, you took on the Kansas City Chiefs. Chris Jones was playing out of his mind in that game, absolutely wrecking stuff. Week 3, you play the Texans. No real big interior presence there, but then week 4, again with Atlanta, you had to go up against Calais Campbell, Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, and then now you get Daquan Jones and Ed Oliver this week. So it's tough. It is tough sledding in terms of getting those interior offensive linemen really doing a good job in pass protection. But if they can match up with Daquan Jones, who leads them in pressures and sacks, they'll have a chance. Daquan Jones has been really good for them so far this year. Hasn't been known as an elite interior pass rusher throughout his career, but he's playing like it right now. You're going to have to deal with him and Ed Oliver and make sure that Trevor isn't just getting pressure right in his face right off the snap, right? Defensively, getting back to that side of it, I talked about Josh Allen. Josh Allen versus Josh Allen is not the matchup to watch. It's Josh Allen versus Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins. Allen has played both left outside linebacker and right outside linebacker, so he's aligned over the right tackle and over the left tackle. He's aligned more over the left tackle this year with Trayvon Walker aligning more over the right tackle, but Spencer Brown is the weakest link on this offensive line and pass protection for the Buffalo Bills. He plays right tackle. I would like to see Josh Allen rush him from that side a little bit more this week. I really would. Get your best guy on their worst guy. Play the matchup advantage. That's a huge matchup to watch. But even if he's lining up against Deion Dawkins, Josh Allen needs to get home. He needs to create pressure. And I'm not saying that because he hasn't, because he absolutely has. He's been excellent for the Jaguars this year. Even in the 2 games where he didn't get sacks. Josh Allen in week 2 against the Chiefs, when he was in the game, they were creating pressure. They were making it difficult for the Chiefs to score points. Hence why they only put 17 points up on the board. But he had a shoulder injury that week, forced him to miss some time, played through it against the Texans in week 3, and he had the best game of any Jaguars pass rusher against the Texans, but it was not a great game by any stretch for Josh Allen. So he's a guy that has multiple 3-sack games this year. Can you get something close to that in week 5 here against the Bills? If you can, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a catalyst for the rest of the Jaguars pass rush, for the defense, for the offense as well. And so I think that if you can get a good Josh Allen performance here from the Jags, Josh Allen, you're going to be cooking. Final matchup for me, Trevor Lawrence versus the Bills defense, particularly like Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard, Micah Hyde. These are guys that all have multiple interceptions this year, mostly over the middle of the field. You got to be on your keys if you're Trevor Lawrence. You cannot force the ball in there. You cannot be late. You cannot have a mistimed throw. You cannot have a throw that's not on the money. You need to be really accurate, really good when you're trying to test those linebackers and safeties over the middle of the field. Otherwise, they will absolutely capitalize on your mistakes. And Trevor Lawrence, he's been really good so far this year. He's been really clean with the football. Only one turnover-worthy play, in my opinion, when you talk about the interception against the Texans. They were down, not a great read, but also Jamal Agnew didn't run the best route on that play. Overall, he's been really clean with the football, and he's going to need to be clean in this one if the Jaguars are going to have a chance. They can't beat themselves, right? And I kind of want to talk about the Bills' defense as a whole, leading the league in interceptions, leading the league in sacks. But I will say this. As good as the Bills' defense has been, and they have been very good. Sean McDermott took over play calling duties. Leslie Frazier no longer with the team. I think they've been really good through the first 4 weeks of the year. 3 of their matchups have been easy matchups, quite frankly. They really have. When you talk about the Commanders and Sam Howell, Zach Wilson and the Jets in week 1, and the Las Vegas Raiders led by Jimmy Garoppolo. None of those offenses strike fear into your heart. Now, they had a really good game against the Dolphins, slowing them down. They really did. But I don't think, and the Dolphins still scored 20. I don't think this defense is as dominant as they look on paper right now. Because, like I said, they lead the league in interceptions. They've got 8 interceptions. 4 of them came against Sam Howell. Zach Wilson, 2 of them. Jimmy Garoppolo, 2 of them. When they played a good quarterback, when they played a good offense, they did not force turnovers in the Miami Dolphins, right? So they did not force interceptions. So I think that you've got a chance to play some decent football against them. Like, I think they're a really good unit overall on the defensive side of the ball. Think that they're going to be a top 10 unit this year, but I don't think you look at them as some legendary defense that cannot be got. I think they absolutely can. I think that if you play your game, you can move the football. And again, I think you're going to have to pick up some chunk plays. You can't just be methodical the entire game. If you do that, they are going to beat you. They're going to wait for you to make a mistake and they're going to capitalize on it. You're going to have to somehow create some explosive chunk plays for yourself. But again, you can't beat yourself, so you can't force those chunk plays. You can't force the football down the field. You can't have drops. You can't have drops that lead to interceptions. You can't be fumbling the football. The Jaguars, they've tried to beat themselves in 3 out of the 4 games this year. You know, against the Colts, they were having some uncharacteristic turnovers. Against the Chiefs, they were dropping the ball like crazy. Against the Texans, they were dropping the ball and having just ridiculous pre-snap penalties, and pre-snap penalties on just really untimely downs, right? Money downs, they were having penalties like crazy against the Texans. Atlanta, you were pretty clean overall. Looked like a team that was really trying to win. Did not look like the team that you saw the first 3 weeks that was really shooting themselves in the foot over and over and over again. Can they be that team for a second straight week? We'll see. I don't think this is a must-win game for the Jaguars. We're here. We're ready to play against the best. It's a statement type of game, in my opinion, right? I don't think that you have to win this game. If you fall to 2-3 in the AFC South, far from a death sentence. Still got 4 division games left on the schedule and a ton of football to be played outside of the division as well. So you don't want to fall to 2-3. You don't want to be sub 500 after the first 5 weeks of the year, but certainly not in a position where you cannot win this division still and make the playoffs. The Bills, they have boat raced 2 bad teams, had a really good day on offense against a bad, banged up Dolphins defense. I think that their offense is extremely talented. I don't think that the Bills' strength of schedule is very impressive yet so far. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know if they're as good as we think they are through 4 weeks. Obviously, great performance against the Miami Dolphins. They figured that out. Figured out how to slow Tua down, get him off his first read. We'll see if they can do it again against the Jaguars. I think they're very good, but I don't think they'll run away against the Jags. I think that this is going to be a really close game. Stay tuned for bold predictions where you will get my score prediction tomorrow. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo. You can follow Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube, notification bell so you don't miss a show. And you can check out genjag.com/shop. Pick up some new Duval gear. Thanks. Have a good one.